Hello, Travis. How are you doing today?
I am fine. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. And for all those who don't know what ambient is yet, what about we give them a little brief of who we are, what we're doing, and where's coming from you?
Sure. So I'm Travis Good. I'm CEO and co founder of Ambient, which is a project designed to bring high scale verified inference or verified intelligence to the world via decentralized means. So if you were to imagine something, imagine truly open AI as powered by AI Bitcoin. That's kind of what we are.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Travis, I want this episode to be more about clearing one confusion that I keep seeing around this central theme of, let's say, even crypto AI. And when people hear verified inference, right, they translate it or it's synonymous to them that this model will be correct. And I know that's not what you mean. So I think it's best we start this podcast off with your definition in plain words what you think is when you say verified inference and what we're actually claiming it to be.
Sure. Well, verified inference is not about proving claims of factual truth or falsity. Rather, it is about proving that your AI infrastructure is acting in the manner that you expect. And so, what we mean by that is that the model that you are running is the one that you expect. It's not a model that is compressed in some way that is going to compromise its intelligence. And it's not a model that has been modified in a potentially malicious way that could harm your interests. Instead, what we talk about with verification is proving that this particular model that you want ran with your prompt that you provided it, not a prompt that's been rewritten or modified in any way, ran in a correct manner, which is to say a standard, well understood manner. That is to say, it is executing inference through all of the layers in the way that we would expect to produce the kinds of probabilities that we would expect from this model. And it produced a particular result, all the words of a particular result at a particular time. So if we were to just take a step back, we're saying this intelligence that I'm accessing is the one that I expect, that's running in a correct way, and it's providing me the best answer possible given its own constraints, the way that the level of intelligence that it has. The answer is not guaranteed to be factually correct. It could be wrong. Just like humans are fallible, AIs are also fallible. But it is something that it's running as intended.
Okay, so it's proof of how what ran rather than how it ran. So the proof is that the output is true. It's not just about what ran. So that's going to be our baseline for our entire conversation. But I want you to clear up why people mix these two things, what ran and how it ran, and assume that one of it is correct. And my guess is that crypto has trained or kind of forced everyone to believe that verified is a very, very strong word because we've used words like signature and we've used words like audit trails, and AI now is a bit different because the output is just a claim about the world. So this confusion, if you heard someone say verifiable AI means no hallucinations, what do you think they're really asking for? Because there's a lot of confusion.
Sure. So verifiable AI means no hallucination. So if we take that and unpack that, we would say a model is making empirically correct claims about the world in relation to any question that is posed to it. And unfortunately, that is not an ability that any large language model has today. Uh, all large language models that exist hallucinate and have a probability to be wrong about in relation to answering any given question. And the reason for that is that they're what we call autoregressive probabilistic models. In other words, they simply form their responses by starting with a word and then taking the next most likely word and then taking that word and looking at the next most likely word after that. And if you imagine that these models are trained on internet text, it's very probable that many people have made mistakes about what is true and accurate as they've typed out responses on the internet. And the model has absorbed probabilities for all of the mistakes that humanity has made in internet responses over time. And so, in the sense that a model's responses are verifiable, we mean that the model is behaving nominally, that it's functioning correctly in an IT sense, and not that it is necessarily producing factually correct results, because the technology that we have right now doesn't guarantee that we will get factually correct results. The thing that's really important to note, however, is that the IT guarantee is very important. Right now, we don't have an IT guarantee that the model that we're paying for instance, is actually the model that's being run with any provider.
Correct.
And that's kind of a fundamental problem, as we can talk about some more down the line.
Now, what do you think is the real cost of holding this wrong model for like a builder? Where do they get hurt here?
Well, if you believe that a model can be verified factually without any other tooling or scaffolding, then you may put a lot of trust in models that is unwarranted. And you may end up in a situation where your software gives bad advice or your agent behaves unpredictably because you have this expectation that because maybe it's a computer, it's right. And
Right.
that expectation, I understand, it's been built up over decades. We've kind of painted computers as entirely factual and logical human creations. But in this case, the technology that we built is not entirely factual and logical. And so, I think that you could build some very bad software or make some very poor decisions if you believed that AI was infallible.
Got it. Now, I think now is a good time to get concrete on the part that what verification can actually do. So, when you say that you can prove what ran, what do you think counts as the identity for it? Because model name right now just feels like a marketing gimmick, right? A new model name keeps coming up every now and then. So, it does feel like a gimmick. So, in your mind, what has to be pinned down, or what's the guardrail for identity to mean anything attached to a model?
Sure. Well, every model is like a human mind. These are systems that are trained organically almost. They're built up from different data streams that are collected and cleaned in an idiosyncratic fashion by all sorts of different providers. And when I say that a model has a different mind, what I mean is actually that a model has a different probabilistic viewpoint that it applies to every token of inference, or you could think of its chain of thought, as it goes. So when we say a model has a different name, really we mean that the model thinks about the world in a different way. And since these models think in steps, it means that at every step that the model takes, every word that it generates, it has a different view of what might come next than some other models. And what we've discovered is that even though a lot of these models are trained on the same information and have the same sorts of what we would call reinforcement learning regimes applied to them to improve their compliance with requests and instruction following, for example, The reality is that the quality of their minds and decision making and knowledge differs quite radically. And to understand and appreciate that, you just have to look at models from 2 years ago. We started out, with GPT-3, which was kind of a toy.
Right.
And everyone thought it was really fun and exciting, and it made all sorts of mistakes and caused a lot of havoc. And it was an amusement, a diversion. And now, we're looking at GPT 5.2, which is seemingly acing graduate level mathematics exams and competing in the math Olympiad. It's the same set of architecture. It's the same kind of architecture. It's a transformer based architecture, we think. It's been trained in a pretty similar way conceptually. It has a set of weights, which are just numeric vectors that represent its knowledge of the world, but it's much, much more capable than other models. So that's what's in a name. It's how a model has been trained and the resulting knowledge, reasoning, and instruction following capabilities that it has.